you on this week's Parsha, Yisro, something very nice from the Rebbe's father, Rabbi Yitzchok Zatzal. This week's Parsha, right before Matan Torah, the Eibishter told the Yidden many promises. It says in the Pasuk, V'ata now, Im Shemoya Tishmu B'Koili, if you listen into my voice, Ushmartem Esbrisi, you'll observe and watch my covenant, then you will be a Segula Mikol Amim. You will be a beloved treasure amongst all the nations in the world. And then the next pasuk says, "Vatem tilom lechas koyin v'gei kodesh." And Rabbi Yitzchok explains that there are 5 things here: Shmoya tishmu b'koili, then Brisi, my covenant, and then you'll be a segula, mamlechas koyin and gei kodesh. In a nutshell, he says these 5 things correspond that the Eibishter wants a relationship with every single Yid on 5 levels. We know Chas v'Sholom when there's a Velus morning, we say Kaddish, we light 5 candles, corresponding to the 5 levels of every neshama, nefesh, ruach, neshama, chaya, yechidah. And he explains that these 5 things in the psukim correspond to those 5 levels. I won't go into all the details, but it'll take me over an hour to explain everything. If you want, you can look it up on the Yalkut of Yitzchok al Torah and on the pasuk. But I just want to share with you a few interesting things. Firstly, he says that these 3 things in the pasuk, Shemoya Tishmu B'Koili, Brisi, and Segula, correspond to 3 parts of a person, which is known as Nefesh, Ruach, Neshama. In Chassidus, everyone has a Neshama, of course, a soul, but that soul has different parts. And when we say the level of Neshama, we're talking about how a person understands. And that understanding comes through listening, hearing, like we say Shema. When a person hears and when you learn, they teach you, then you comprehend, and that's Bina, that's understanding. So Shemoya symbolizes your understanding. Brisi, the covenant, comes from the heart, and that's referring to what's called B'chinezo, the feelings of a person's heart. And V'yisim li Zgula, and you'll be a beloved treasure, as Rasul explains, referring to how a person acts. And these 3 things are the neshama, the ruach, and the nefesh, which also means how you understand Hashem, how you feel Hashem, and how you act in the proper way as Hashem wants. So a few interesting things. First of all, what's the double expression as for Rabbi Yitzchok? Shemoya tishmu v'koili. Double expression of a hearing, a listening, understanding. And Rabbi Yitzchok right away explains what it says in Tanya and other places of Chassidus, that in understanding something which is called the level of Bina, there are 2 levels. One is called Bina and one is called Tevuna. Tevuna, that the Rebbe says in Perik Tanya, Perik Tazayin, and many places in Chassidus, L'Kutas Sichos. When a person understands, there's 2 levels. One thing is a person learns something, he understands something on his level, and it stays in his mind, in his chokhmah bina. And then there's the next step. How from your understanding, it should affect how you feel. Like the Rebbe says in Perek Gimel of Tanya, we spoke many times. Once you understand something, it gives birth to feelings. And that's like offspring, children. And that's what the Rebbe says. Tivuna has the letters of Ben and Bas, son and daughter, showing on the offspring of your understanding. It's supposed to arouse a positive feeling of love and fear to Hashem. And as the Rebbe explains further, once you have the love and the fear, you have that commitment in your heart, you digest it, you internalize it, it'll arouse positive feelings, then you would want to do mitzvahs haseyah, mitzvahs lo yisaseh. The ava, the love, will bring you to do action, and the mitzvahs and the fear will control you, that you shouldn't behave in an improper way as Hashem wants. That will help you with the mitzvahs of lo yisaseh, the prohibitive commandments. So that's why it says Shemoya Tishmu. Make sure not only do you understand, and many people are real happy how you understand. No, next level. Internalize your understanding so much, bond with it, connect with it, that it will arouse a feeling in your heart, will give birth to positive emotional feelings, and that's Tavuna. Now comes Rabbi Levi Yitzchok and explains the word Segula, so special. He says the word Segula means a treasure, beloved treasure. Hashem loves us. Comes from the word Segoil. Segoil is one of the Nekudos that we pronounce as an S sound, but the design of those, the nekudas of that, how we pronounce segul, has 3 dots. Different than any other nekuda that there is. Not only there's 3 dots, but the 3 dots have a special shape. One is on the right, one is on the left, and then one in the center and the bottom. And this is why we spoke many, many times, that Hashem says, I give you the Torah. If you look around in the world, there's a world of toyu, of chaos. And in the world of chaos, if you make it in a nutshell, you will see people follow themselves emotionally. Some people, they live their lives, everything, how they like things. Everything is love, everything goes, whatever I love, that's what I do, that's my nature, etc. He lives his life just with ava. Some people are just the opposite. Very rigid, gevuridik people, severity, full of fear, and there's very little ava in their life. Chassidus and Torah teaches us that there is a blend. As we always spoke, many times you have a parent and a child. A parent is always loving and giving and full of love, which is wonderful. But if there's no also limitations, and sometimes severity, and sometimes even, I wouldn't say punishment, but there's sometimes a no, just not everything goes, just because we love something, not everything is good, as we know. So if they have too much gevura, too much severity, parent, no good. Too much love alone, also no good. You have to find a balance, and that's the center dot in the middle of the segul to teach you that Torah came along and teaches you that in the outside world there's only two sides, or this side or that side, and you look around the world, you could see it. There's no true balance. The only true balance is with Torah, and that's what's called shalom, peace. And that's the reason why the Torah was given in the 3rd month, and it was from Nisan, Iyar, Sivan. The Gemara says, why Tlisoy, why the 3rd? To teach you, that center, that segul, Segula, you want to meet my beloved nation, Mikola Amim, you will be above and beyond all the nations of the world, because they were only blessed with 2, or this side or that side. They don't have the middle center part of Torah, which teaches us so well how to blend the Ava and the Yira. We have mitzvahs loisaseh, we have mitzvahs aseh, we have mitzvahs loisaseh, the positive, the prohibitive, and together a person has a wonderful life, an enjoyable life, uplifted life, a meaningful life, close to Hashem, and that's the meaning of Segula. So you see now the whole pasuk of it. Hashem says, not only you should understand, make sure the understanding brings 2 positive feelings, and that's the covenant, that's the brisi. Once you have that, then you will have Segula. You will have the 3 sides, the right, the left, the center, the blend, the peace, and you will have a wonderful, wonderful life. And that's the Mikol Amim, and you will fulfill the Eibishter's plan of making the world a Dirula Yizbarach B'Tachtoinim, a dwelling place for Hashem.